Ever wish you had the Midas touch, when it comes to business? I know I do. So today, let's dive into this book, The Midas Touch.
Oh yeah, by Donald Trump and Robert Kiyosaki?
Exactly. I think it'll be really interesting to see what we can learn from them. They lay out this five-finger framework in the book.
It's a really cool way to think about the key ingredients you need for entrepreneurial success, kind of like a blueprint.
A blueprint. I like that. So should we jump right in?
Absolutely.
Okay, so the first finger they talk about is the thumb, which represents strength of character. What exactly do they mean by that?
Well, it's all about intrapersonal intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to manage your emotions, being resilient, bouncing back from setbacks, and learning from your mistakes, which is huge.
And speaking of learning from mistakes, Kiyosaki talks about his first business, Rippers.
Oh yeah, that didn't go so well.
What happened?
Well, it all started with surfer wallets, believe it or not.
Surfer wallets, okay.
And Kiyosaki had this big dream of turning it into this global brand, but the business went under. It left him in serious debt.
Ouch. That's got to be tough.
It is. And he was ready to throw in the towel.
Ah.
But his mentor, the one he calls his rich dad, kind of steered him in a different direction.
What did he say?
He basically told Kiyosaki to face the music, own up to it.
So, go talk to his investors.
Exactly. Apologize and figure out a way to pay them back, which Kiyosaki mentions took him 6 years.
6 years. Wow. That takes guts.
It does, but that experience taught him a lot, not just about running a business, but about resilience,
Yeah.
and taking responsibility for your actions.
That's a powerful lesson for anyone, really. Okay, so we've got a strong thumb strength of character. What about the index finger?
The index finger is all about focus.
Focus, I can get behind that. But they tie it back to Kiyosaki's experience as a combat pilot, right?
Exactly. Talk about a career change, right?
For real. So how does being a pilot connect to focus in business?
Well, Kiyosaki talks about how, as a pilot, you have to be laser focused on your target, no matter what's going on around you.
So no distractions.
Right. And he actually takes it a step further and argues against that whole diversify your investments advice that you hear all the time.
Really? I've always heard that diversification is key.
It's common advice, for sure, but Kiyosaki believes that it can lead to spreading yourself too thin. You end up with mediocre returns. He's more about finding the things you excel at and going all in.
So focus on your strengths and don't be afraid to go big.
Exactly. But it's not just about making money for the sake of it.
There's got to be more to it than that, right?
Right. He emphasizes having goals bigger than yourself, goals that make a real difference. But there's balance. He also warns against being delusional, so it's not about chasing pipe dreams.
So ambition grounded in reality. I like it. Okay, we've got inner strength, laser focus. What's next?
The middle finger.
All right, let's hear it. What's so special about the middle finger?
It represents your brand, which is so important. And this is actually where Kiyosaki's experience with Rippers comes full circle.
Oh, how so?
Well, he admits that while the company name was catchy, they didn't really put in the work to build a strong brand. He was so focused on the day-to-day that he missed the bigger picture, defining what Rippers stood for, its values, its story, all of that.
So a brand is more than just a logo or a product. It's that feeling you get from a company, right?
You got it. And in today's world, a strong brand builds trust, legitimacy. It's crucial, especially with so much competition out there.
It's like the difference between a real Rolex and a fake one you'd buy on the street. One screams quality and craftsmanship, and the other, not so much.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Kiyosaki actually uses that exact example in the book. He even shares this crazy story about being offered a $4 million endorsement deal.
$4 million? What? For a surfer wallet endorsement?
No, this was later on after he had already written Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It was a mutual fund company that wanted him to endorse their product.
I bet he took it.
No, he turned it down.
Seriously, why would he do that?
Because it didn't align with his Rich Dad brand. He knew that promoting something he didn't truly believe in would damage his credibility, the trust he'd built with his audience.
Talk about integrity. It's like he's saying that your brand is your word, your reputation.
And that commitment to your brand is probably worth way more than $4 million in the long run.
So we've got strength of character, focus, and now brand. That's 3 fingers down, 2 to go. What about the ring finger? What's its significance?
This one's all about relationships, which I think is pretty fitting for the ring finger, don't you?
I can see that. So we're talking partnerships, collaborations, the connections you make along the way.
Exactly. Kiyosaki emphasizes how important it is to surround yourself with the right people. because they can really make or break your business. He actually says that every successful partnership needs 3 key players.
Oh, I like this. Tell me more.
Okay, so first up, you've got the dreamer.
The visionary, the big idea person.
Right. Then you need the business person to actually make those dreams a reality.
The one who gets things done.
Exactly. And last but definitely not least, you need the SOB.
The what?
The SOB. Think of them as the guard dog. They protect the business from shady deals or people trying to take advantage.
Ah, I get it. Someone who's not afraid to say no and isn't afraid of a little confrontation.
Exactly. You need that balance. Good partners, as they say, attract good deals. And when you have the right team by your side, well, that's when amazing things can happen.
Okay, so we've got 4 fingers down: strength of character, focus, brand, and relationships. It's a pretty solid foundation for success. But what about that pinky finger? Stay tuned, because we'll be right back after a quick break.
And we're back, diving deeper into the Midas Touch. We've covered 4 fingers of Trump and Kiyosaki's framework, which leaves us with
pinky finger.
the pinky finger.
Yeah.
And that one is all about the little things, which honestly seems a little counterintuitive to me.
How so?
Well, I mean, we're talking about guys like Trump, right? Big ideas, bold moves. I wouldn't think sweating the small stuff would be their style.
You'd be surprised. Trump actually emphasizes the importance of being detail-oriented.
No way. Seriously, I figured he'd have people for that.
Oh, he delegates for sure. But he also stays very hands-on, especially with his real estate projects. He even talks in the book about personally negotiating the prices of everything.
Everything. Like what?
Like everything from sinks and chairs to light fixtures. He's involved in all of it.
Wow, that's attention to detail.
Right. And it highlights something really important. Success isn't just about the big picture. It's about being meticulous about every single aspect of your business.
Like they say, the devil's in the details.
Exactly. And Trump actually shares this story in the book about almost forgetting what he was going to say before giving his speech to 10,000 people.
Oh, man. I can't even imagine the pressure. What did he do?
Well, instead of freaking out, he just focused on connecting with the audience one person at a time.
So he imagined himself talking to each person individually.
Yeah. And that helped him to relax and deliver a really powerful speech.
That's actually a really good tactic. Okay, so to recap, the 5 fingers represent strength of character, focus, brand, relationships, and sweating the small stuff. It really is a roadmap for entrepreneurial success.
It is. But there's another element that they highlight in the book that I think ties in nicely with this framework, even though it isn't explicitly part of the 5 fingers.
Oh, I'm intrigued. What is it?
Well, Kiyosaki talks about how his first book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, became a huge bestseller.
I can't believe I haven't read that yet. I've heard it's really good.
It is. It's really insightful. But anyway, it didn't become an overnight success. He actually self-published it at first.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And it slowly started gaining traction through word of mouth. But it wasn't until Oprah Winfrey's team reached out to him that things really blew up.
The Oprah effect.
Exactly. That appearance on her show, along with being featured on the New York Times bestseller list, really launched the book into the stratosphere.
Talk about a lucky break.
Right. And while that isn't directly related to the 5-finger framework, I think it illustrates something really important about success. Even when you have all the right ingredients, the strength, the focus, the brand, the relationships, the attention to detail, sometimes you need a little bit of luck to get you there.
Like being in the right place at the right time.
Exactly.
I like it. So we've talked about the 5-finger framework and even the role of luck in achieving success. But for someone looking to cultivate their own Midas touch, what's the key takeaway here? What's the one thing they should remember from all of this?
That's a good question. I think both Trump and Kiyosaki would agree that the Midas touch isn't just about money or material success. It's about generosity.
Generosity.
Yeah, generosity. Using your talents, your resources, your influence to make a positive impact on the world around you. They believe that the most successful entrepreneurs are the ones who create value for others, who make people's lives better.
So it's not just about grabbing the gold, it's about sharing the wealth, right?
Exactly. And that's why they leave the reader with this really thought-provoking question. What is the unique gift you have to offer the world? And how can you turn that into a thriving business that makes other people's lives richer?
That's a powerful question. It makes you think bigger than yourself.
It does.
Yeah.
It's a call to action for all of us to figure out what makes us special, what we have to offer, and then use that to make a real difference in the world.
And that seems like a great place to wrap up our deep dive into the Midas Touch.
It's been great chatting with you.
Likewise, we hope this episode has given you plenty to think about on your own entrepreneurial journey. And remember, success isn't just about the gold you accumulate, but the positive impact you make on the world. Until next time, happy listening.
Before we go, I was thinking it might be interesting to kind of like think about this idea of generosity, but take it a step further.
Okay, I'm game.
So what about legacy? What if the Midas Touch isn't really about just turning everything into gold? Like, what if it's about turning that gold into something even bigger, something that lasts?
Legacy. That's interesting.
Right. Because doesn't that really tell the story of success? I mean, think about it. It's not just about the money you make. It's about what you do with it. The businesses you build, the jobs you create, the lives you touch.
It's about the mark you leave on the world.
Exactly. And that mark, that's your legacy. That's something that can last for generations.
It's like those skyscrapers Trump builds, or even Kiyosaki's books. They're not just making deals or writing books, they're creating something that's going to outlive them.
Exactly.
And that idea of legacy, it really connects back to that question that Kiyosaki asked at the end of the book, right?
Yeah.
About finding your unique gift and using it to make the world a better place.
It all ties together, doesn't it?
It does. So maybe that's the real Midas touch, figuring out how to use what we've got to make a real difference in the world.
What a legacy that would be.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into the Midas touch.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot today.
We did. We talked about the 5 fingers, their framework strength of character focus, brand relationships, attention to detail, and of course, generosity and legacy.
It's been great exploring these ideas with you.
Likewise. And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Midas touch. Remember, true success isn't just about what you gain. It's about the positive impact you have on the world. Until next time, happy listening.